Alright, so I made it through a build of Samba, and I'm working through getting up to Foo Billiard, which I anticipate means it's going to build a bunch of X11 stuff and Mesa, Glue, and Glut. My goal in Cairo and maybe Pango. And if it isn't, I'm just going to check that those will build. If it stops before there, but I think those will be involved in some fashion. And so my goal was to have. It's kind of like wrapping up my first go at it, but I'm testing, I'm checking my own work. So the only real issue is going to be you're going to have to do a package add for the Z libraries to start with, and that's it. This is a circular dependency. The Z libraries build better if you use CMake, but if you don't have CMake and Pkgsrc, you can't build the Z libraries, and CMake needs the Z libraries to be built, so big circle. I built that Z library in CMake already. May have mentioned I got Python patches, patches for Python, so I'm probably no longer going to have that binary up there anymore, at least in the building area. So I'm just checking things out, and as things come up, I'm pretty much fixing whatever the issue happens to be. And once I get to the point where I have people in a position where they at least have a build of some sort for that I can verify that my toolkit will give people that download the whole thing something they can use, to put them in position to start working on the things they want to work on, or troubleshoot with what I've made and improve on it for their own use, or give back or whatever. That was my purpose. But right now I've found an additional purpose, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the unresolved symbols. Basically, despite all the hoopla and the goofing around and stuff like that, basically I'm doing this. This is the system I have here. The red. I've just made red, so it reminds me which one I'm working with is the one that has a lot of the libraries replaced that I anticipate that are going to be involved in linking of the packages that are graphical. I hope to find out eventually whether that's actually going to be necessary to get something like Foo Billiard to run or not, or I'm going to find out whether that had no effect at all. But I'm going to find out. Meanwhile, I finished a build of Samba, and I was goofing around a lot, and I really didn't capture everything on the screen all that well. Basically, my Pkgsrc will take you to the point where you have Samba built, and whether the package file system is in place or not, you have to do a couple of scary things, but I haven't checked Haiku Depot to see if it still works yet. But you basically you have to go in once you've there's a number of things you have to do. I started a presentation on it. I'm just going to go over the things that strike me. I've already done a presentation on it at some point, but I'm going to do this again in case I missed anything on that last go at it. So what I ended up doing is, number one, I had I created a directory in boot home called temp. Number two, I went to config, settings, and boot, and I edited the user boot script to include three things, one of which is a symbolic link from boot home temp to temp. I also added the lines to automatically start, NMBD first and SMBD second in the user boot script. That isn't enough. I also had to go in and I went into package, etc. Samba, I believe. You have to edit the smb.conf file. I put a sample up actually at Git. It's in the settings directory. You really gotta dig for it, I guess, but it's there. In general, going over the contents of it, why not? I've put a setting in this configuration file to cause every log file that is going to want to write something to have it redirected to boot home package var cache Samba Haiku, and you have to create these directories: cache Samba Haiku, which is I'll get to that. You get the idea. You have to first create a cache directory, then a Samba directory, then a Haiku directory, and then when Samba runs, these directories will be populated. Otherwise, they won't. But I'm putting them there. I put them there on purpose. This connect path setting is really not all that important, and I'm going to check to make sure that I'm actually getting this. Okay, so just, you could pause, you could look, and in fact, these are shares down here versus patches. That's share patches. All these are pretty much the same except for the path I'm pointing to. So the settings that you need to know to have this work are all in yellow there. So pause, take a look at it. Take maybe a screenshot and print it out so you have it in hand. But you're still not done yet. The scary thing that I had to do is I had to go into boot system and cache. And I had to delete the temp directory. And in there was all sorts of stuff like package repositories, or there was some stuff actually in there. I'll just say that right now. Once I had deleted it, my menu up here where the applications no longer appeared to have things in them until I restarted. The symbolic link that's created in the user boot script gets us back, but I also had to go into the terminal and manually hopefully the history will be in this terminal. I created a symbolic link just like this. For that, just like that. And things just seem to kind of work, and the right answer seems to be that there's a symbolically linked temp directory sitting in boot system cache temp. That's just part of the overall formula. What's going on? I just explain what's going on. Is that even though in the smb.conf file that I have there, I've taken every known variable that wants to write to some part of the file system and forced it to go to somewhere in my home directory under actually boot home package somewhere. You look back and see what I had there on camera when I stayed there for a bit. There's only one variable you really cannot control by an smb.conf file, and it's a lock file that basically when any user or non-user or guest user or whatever accesses Samba, it needs access to the system temp directory of some sort. So and the way if you don't do that, Samba will not start. It'll say that I'll look at the log file here. And you're only going to know this by actually doing this. So here's actually I think it's an SMBD. NMBD I think can start without that, but the SMBD I'm not worried about the It says this. It goes live util bug, and finally, eventually, this is it. This line right here. Before you do that other stuff, it's going to give you this util debug. If you don't have the log files that are in smb.conf reviewing, if you don't have these directories created, cache, Samba, Haiku, boot home package, vericache, Samba, as it's laid out in smb.conf, you're going to get these errors up here with, they'll say, live util debug, reopen logs internal, okay. Once you're done with that, you're still going to have this error. Canonicalize connect path failed for IPC $path /temp. Of course, BOS doesn't actually have a temp directory, but there's a variable that apparently Samba knows to use, or vice versa. Haiku is known to use that other programs want to use, and effectively /tmp is actually boot system cache. And without deleting that temp directory, it just doesn't, and then recreating a subhook link, it's literally just does not have that write access. So that's what I did. Now, if you know how to program and patch and get it to, and I don't think it's an issue of it being a hard link. Maybe. I don't know. There is no hard-coded /temp in the source code. If you think that I forgot to look for that, I don't even think it's a get env. It's something else. I just don't exactly know what it is. And it could be something on Samba's side, on Haiku's side, that defaults to the equivalent for TMP is set in a configuration file on the system. So and actually it isn't a hard link, because now that I deleted the temp directory, it's connecting. So it doesn't have this is the second Samba I've set up. So I just want to make sure I go over that. But basically, getting back to the big picture and the Pkgsrc stuff, once I upload all my stuff, which will probably be within a week or something, to the 11th, and give it a week. If you see a new repository at GitHub under Linux CPA, it's called Pkgsrc kit, something like that. It'll have my entire Pkgsrc makefile and patches directory tree zipped up as one thing called. It's not a fork though, but it's not. You have to use this. If you don't use, then you got a lot of work to do if you don't use this unofficial version of Pkgsrc that's a quarter behind, basically. It's probably always going to be a quarter behind until I get caught up. And figure out how to integrate things, and if I'm up to it. I mean, it seems like a lot of work. I'm going to load that out. Okay, so here it is. I'm actually going to zip it up right now, because unless something unusual happens, I anticipate this is going to go pretty far. This attempt to build Foo Billiards should go quite a ways, but I shouldn't speak so soon. I'm going to upload three things. One is this Pkgsrc thing that's zipped up, but inside of it will be something that's going to be out of place. It's this mk.conf file that you're going to have to create inside your home directory, a package, etc. directory, and place the mk.conf file that I give you there. You're also going to have to create a package source directory, Pkgsrc, and you're going to unzip the second item that I'm going to provide, which I'm going to call settings. The third item I'm going to provide is going to fill the remaining contents of this directory, but not going to be as extensive. And it will have the binaries, not all the binaries, but just the binaries that are created once Bootstrap is created. In fact, get a better pictures. This is going to be the upload kit. There's going to be four things that I have. You'll have bmake in the binary, some utilities in the sbin, and in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my .profile in there, So that way you can use the same shortcut commands that I do. Like go will change directories to the package source root. Do will do a bmake install. Package underscore add will do a package add. And you're going to package, the first thing you're going to do after you've got everything in place, but of course the contents of this package directory goes in boot home package. This .profile goes in boot home. So you may want to look at this later on if you're doing this. This zlib will be inside this I guess kit upload directory. And since I've already built the binary for you, you don't have to bootstrap. That's the good news. You're actually ready to go once you have those things in place. First thing to do is package add this zlib. There's a circular dependency to build the zlib like this and turn out the way it needs to be for things to have at least a lot less unresolved symbols, is that the zlib is built by CMake, but CMake has a dependency that zlib pre-existed, so it's circular, you understand? You need the CMake to build the zlib, but the zlib to build the CMake. You can't do either unless you have the other, so that's the solution. And then that gets you started to build things. And you should be able to build, because I've done a run through, Python, Perl. You should be able to build all the way up to Samba, and you should be able to build close to, yeah, I'm not going to load it up until I'm able to build up to Foo Billiard. I know it should build, it's just a matter of me getting all the packages right, the patches right. Then there's going to be the settings, so maybe that's 4 things you're going to need to get. I'm a little tired now. I'm not really good at countings at this hour, but if that's 4, the 4th would be my settings, if I haven't mentioned them already. And these are integral to the patches. To get some of the packages to build right, they need both the patches and these settings. And these settings are not housed in the package source tree. These settings are housed under boot home, package, etc. package source. You'll unzip the settings and place them in there. You notice that the make.conf here is up here in the etc. directory. And if you're familiar with package source, this make.conf just points down to a file called haiku.make in the package source directory, which envelopes all these things in here. And there's a number, there's a lot of settings, way more settings you'd ever be used to as a package source user in the past. But they're critical, integral, important. I have made some changes to some of the bmake make files in some cases. So you're not going to just download. I would not advise you to download. I'm just doing what I can. I'm a one-man shop here. So not one, Diger did a lot of stuff, but it still was a lot of work for one person, is to say. So, and there's going to be something else I got to deal with. On this NAS thing, I gotta. Okay, so anyway, I probably should just take that out. Anyway, once I get everything settled, I gotta get a little bit further than that. I'll load this stuff up. You'll be able to use it. And the whole idea, the whole goal, the whole intention is multiple. One is so if you're interested in trying to port apps over to Haiku, you're not going to have to do all the low-level stuff. You may have to redo or troubleshoot the graphical programs in Forward. But you'll be able to see my patches. You can also look and see what patches I've done, because I also have a patches repository. So you can look at that, okay, this is what he did, okay. So that patch is his, okay, that one's package source, and maybe okay, well, he tried this, let me try something else. Fix things up, get things better, but you're ready to start. You already have potentially a system that has a working library X11 that you won't need to change. Or Cairo, or Pango. Okay, then you can start doing the thing you want to do. If your goal is to port LibreOffice or something like that, but it's just too much work to get there with all these other things, I'm trying to get you past that first part so you can work on LibreOffice. But you might have to do some things in the background because I'm not really a programming expert. But if you are, you might be able to look and say, okay, well, he should have done it this way or that way. Go ahead, do it, make the change, and get to the point where you can get to that higher package. Meanwhile, what I'm working on here is I'm just looking to see whether some of the linking issues I had anything to do with differences in libraries, with the way they're built or their age or anything like that. And I'll come on here and I'll talk about that periodically once I find out anything at least looks definitive or evidentiary to me. Or I'll explain whether I don't really know, but these are the things I've observed. Which I'm kind of in that realm right now, and with I don't know why the symbols are doing what they're doing. And it would hopefully you'll be able to get pretty far with this whole thing. All right, so that's the explanation there. I think I've gone over Samba. I think I've gone over what I was hoping to do, and right now I'm just exploring now just to see. One, will it hurt the system to trade out libraries that are built outside the system with the libraries that are in the system? Do we need to link all these libraries with library extension, or I'm trying to sort things out. Can we upgrade? Or does it hurt to have a different version? I'm just trying to see how the system reacts to my having traded out a lot of the libraries, not all of them, which I'll provide a list, and I'll probably even put up, if I find it makes a difference in linking, I will put up the remade boot system library directory. Don't really want to do that long term, but if that's the only way people are going to be able to develop is first to get rid of the package file system and then put that stuff in, I'm going to have that available for people to be able to use so developers can move forward and they can build things people can use, I hope. And you still got to work out if there are differences. Well, if it works here, is it going to run over there? Stuff like that. Hopefully over time these things will be worked out. That's it. That's where I'm at.